Good evening everybody and welcome to this webinar, which is the third in our TY Picnic webinar series. And at tonight's event we're going to look at bridging the gap and work experience in TY in the coming year. Our TY team is made up of Glenda Groom and John Kerr, who are both TY coordinators in their school and PDST associates. We also have Brendan O'Halloran and Marcus O'Flynn, who are full-time PDST advisors and who work some of their time on providing support for TY. We have Esther Hurley, who is our administrator and works out of Navan Education Centre. And my name is Stephen Campbell. I'm a PDST team leader with responsibility for supporting the TY programme. If you require support, you can apply for school support at the PDST website, pdst.ie/school support. To do so, you'll need to know your school's roll number and the password, which is shown on the screen there. Any applications for support should be done in consultation with school management, as a single application for support goes in for each school. If you have any questions around the coordination of TY, you can email us at ty@pdst.ie. You might consider following us on Twitter at pdstty. And you can also check in on the webpage on the PDST website for continual updates with resources to support the teaching and learning in transition year. Before we start the webinar, I just want to run through a few small expectations for online CPD. So while we're in the main room, please keep your microphones muted. It just makes it easier for everybody to hear the presenters speaking. You do not have permission to record this CPD event. This is to respect other people's privacy. The event is timed to last just over an hour, so we ask that you give it its full attention during that time. If you have any questions throughout the event, please use the chat feature on Zoom to ask those questions, and we'll try to answer them in real time, and if we don't manage to, we'll follow up with an email in the coming days. And in the second half of tonight's webinar, we're going to break out into smaller groups to have a discussion on the key themes of tonight's event. And when we do that, we ask that you unmute your microphones and turn on your cameras to make for a more personal experience. The plan for tonight is to start off by looking at bridging the gap between junior and senior cycle. Then we're going to go and look at how we might provide a quality work experience for students in this year. Then we'll break into our smaller groups to have a discussion on both of those aspects of tonight's webinar. We'll come back and take some feedback, and then we'll close off the webinar and go about our business. So let's start by looking at bridging the gap between junior cycle and senior cycle. Bridging the gap between junior and senior cycle has always been a central part of TY. This year we have added issues to address in terms of some students missing out on chunks of core learning in third year, students disengaging from education, and so on. In planning for bridging the gap between junior and senior cycle, there are a number of important considerations. As always, it is important to plan for teaching, learning and assessment which progresses learning. A balanced programme in TY can help to support students to progress to Leaving Cert and to access learning in Leaving Cert at the highest possible level. This is not a simple thing to achieve and has many elements, including remediation, encouraging students to take a greater responsibility for their own learning, setting high expectations in TY, development of additional skills and continuous development of existing skills, and much more besides. The guidance document stresses the importance of identifying priority areas for knowledge and skills development. How do we do this? Well, we might ask students to identify areas for themselves where they need to develop. A survey could be useful in this regard. We might ask subject teachers this year to speak to their departmental colleagues to identify gaps from junior cycle, and particularly from March 2020 onwards, or to identify common areas of difficulty within each subject at Leaving Cert, which could start to be addressed in TY. To help deal with the loss of contact time in 2020, additional time is available for teaching the core subjects. The guidance document highlights the need to emphasise development of literacy and numeracy with this extra time. No doubt everyone has been aware of the availability of extra time since midsummer, however not all schools may have been able to adjust their timetable to allow for this. So is there anything we can do at this stage on allocating extra time? As coordinators, all of you are creative problem solvers, so you may already have negotiated this challenge. But if you haven't, here are a couple of examples of ways in which you might. So the first example is of a school who were interested in securing additional maths time, but an extra class was not available on the core subject allocation on the timetable. So what they did instead was they took the opportunity to add financial maths, applied maths in everyday settings and numeracy skills onto the subject sampling line, with the aim of supporting students in their learning in other subject areas. Part of this module focused on remediation of material from junior cycle as required. The second example relates to schools who run their work experience program 1 day per week, that is, as opposed to block release, and where work experience is not possible at the current time. The core teachers could agree to share some of this time for additional tuition. In many cases, students are likely to be off-site on these days, so some sort of blended learning model could work well. Students might be given a project to complete over the course of a month in some of the core subjects, with the understanding that it is expected that they spend a certain amount of their off-site days working on this. All of these points require discussion and agreement across the TY teaching team in terms of how to plan for teaching, learning and assessment. While providing additional time to core subjects to bridge any gap in learning due to school closures, it is important to maintain existing good practice in planning creative and innovative TY programs. This is not a 3-year Leaving Cert program. We're now going to spend some time looking at what these recommendations look like within each subject area in the core layer of the TY program. Starting with the subject of mathematics, the guidance document points to a few things around the teaching of maths. It suggests that a remediation module could be included which would deal with any gaps which exist from junior cycle, and an applied maths module where students get the opportunity to explore the importance of maths in the world around us. A combined approach, which is also consistent with the aims of TY, might also work. That is, to build remediation into a rich applied maths module. By choosing suitable real-world situations to investigate using mathematics, it is possible to encounter areas of maths which would commonly require remediation. For example, a simple investigation around the optimum design of a lunchbox could lead students to engage with areas of maths such as functions, graphs, and algebra, and could also be used to lay groundwork for Leaving Cert concepts such as calculus, while at the same time developing key mathematical skills such as problem solving and communicating mathematical thinking. There might also be a cross-curricular element to this in terms of nutrition and also in engineering through the manufacture of the final product. There are lots of examples of applied maths investigations. The Enrich Maths website is a good source for such investigations. A spreading disease example might offer another investigation with potential for inbuilt remediation and cross-curricular work. Obviously, you'd have to judge the use of such an example as being appropriate or not, given the times that are in it. If you'd like further information on any of this, please email the Post-Primary Maths team at postprimarymaths@pdst.ie. Another approach in looking at the application of maths is the PDST's Numeracy Deep Dive project, which has run for a couple of years and has proved very successful in different schools, with students' disposition to maths changing for the better. In the numeracy deep dive, a maths teacher pairs up with a teacher from another subject. We call this the carrier subject. The teachers work together to plan a series of lessons which involve a shared group of students taking data generated via investigation or research in the carrier subject and analysing it in the maths classroom, then bringing this back to the carrier subject classroom to inform their conclusions. Examples of deep dive pairs from the last few years have included maths and engineering, maths and physics, maths and biology, maths and business, maths and economics, maths and art, and more. Returning to the idea of remediation, the Department of Education has recently published a circular around student testing this year, and this includes a number of important considerations and recommendations. A key recommendation is that no testing of students is done prior to October midterm. This is to allow students the chance to settle back into school and also to increase the reliability of the tests. The circular has links to lots of available tests for different subjects. You could also use the PDST Maths Competency Test. We've just updated these tests so that they are available as a template for Microsoft Forms or for Google Classroom. The beauty of this is that it may be integrated with a school's VLE, and the forms are self-correcting and report useful statistics. Tying in with the earlier point of using work experience days productively when work experience isn't actually possible, one could use the competency test to send students into a particular learning path on a website such as Khan Academy so that they can upskill themselves in areas in which they need development. Again, if you want information on any of these initiatives, please email the post-primary maths team for more information. I'm now going to pass you over to Glenda, who's going to take you through the next number of subjects.
As Stephen has mentioned when discussing maths, the guidance document suggests a number of points when teaching English. Similarly, an emphasis on remediation should be included, which would deal with any gaps which exist from junior cycle. Ideally, senior management would facilitate additional class time for core subjects such as English. However, this may not always be possible, so additional supports for literacy and skills development may be included through modules such as public speaking, media studies, communications, drama and journalism. Podcasting, film and TV production give opportunity for analysis, script writing and recording. Use a variety of skills desirable for increasing language proficiency. Photography allows for examination and modelling of photojournalism. Interviews may be conducted and articles written for the school website and local media, underpinning the practical application of these skills for students. A particularly nice activity is letter writing, as it may be practised by writing to residents of local nursing homes who may be feeling lonely during these restricted times for family visits, thus enhancing community spirit. Other areas of English, such as poetry and film studies, provide rich opportunities for students to develop their understanding of self and others, thereby enhancing well-being and expression. Such examples of practical applications of English skills support the students in achieving the broader aims of TY. When choosing texts to explore during the TY English programme, it is very important to be mindful of the explicit direction given by the Department of Education and Skills about the appropriate use of prescribed material and prescribed Leaving Certificate texts to ensure that TY is not used to cover Leaving Certificate material. There are a wide range of resources available to support the delivery of innovative, interesting English courses that address any remediation concerns while laying the foundation for concepts and skills required in Leaving Certificate. These are just a small selection that have proven to be useful. The journalism module in the GAA Future Leaders has been very successful in broadening student perception of how people may be engaged with the GAA. Many schools are fortunate enough to have an author, poet or playwright live within their locality, be it a past pupil or be simply willing to give of their time to support student engagement with literature. An example of how to promote an interest in literature is through meeting the author. These visits, if in person, must be arranged within public health guidelines. Using Irish Times and New York Times best-selling author Hazel Gaynor's debut novel, The Girl Who Came Home, to explore Leaving Certificate skills suitable for Paper 1, writing skills, and Paper 2, single text and comparative studies, has been very successful. This is also a really good example of how cross-curricular opportunities with other subjects may be promoted. In this instance, it works very well with history, art, and media studies. Students are encouraged to write a piece inspired by their engagement with Hazel's work. It may be poetry, prose, or an article. A short list of entries are sent to Hazel, who selects first and second place. Hazel visits, gives a presentation on her experience as an author, and presents the prizes.
The Returning to School Transition Year document reminds teachers of Irish. The transition year provides an opportunity to address students' varied learning experiences and competencies in Irish, and it provides an opportunity to create learning experiences that will enable them to pursue the study of Irish at the highest level in accordance with their abilities. Those learning experiences should be negotiated with the students, making the learning relevant to the students' lived experiences and interests, and should support the building of their confidences and competencies as Irish language users. As the 5 language skills are interdependent, their development should be integrated, which enhances and improves students' learning. Using authentic text from a range of genre and media assists with the integration and development of the language skill. Also, the careful selection of themes for modules or as cross-curricular projects also affords students the opportunity to practice the 5 language skills, where greater attention should be placed on oral and written presentations. The document also makes reference to the prescribed Leaving Cert material, stating that the use of this material should be minimal. But where aspects of the Leaving Cert syllabus are used, the focus should be on innovative and creative teaching and learning strategies. For example, if focusing on an oral Irish examination topic, students could engage with this by using technology such as PowerPoint or Prezi or other presentations, where they could add to it as they progress throughout their senior cycle and as their oral language develops. Irish language teachers can also avail of other webinars from the PDST, Post-Primary Irish Language Team, which are available now on Skolnet. One is on planning, one on differentiation in the classroom, which has great relevance to the TY Irish Language classroom. Another is on literature, and yet another on planning for transition year. Teachers' attentions should also be brought to the vast amount of material that's available on Skolnet. Using ICT for Irish, for example, is on Skolnet on the Irish homepage, while there are numerous learning paths that cover areas that are of great assistance to transition year Gaeilge. There are sites that lend themselves to blended learning opportunities. Físeachas Forum on YouTube, for example, provides comprehensive lessons on grammar that can be used remotely and can be discussed later with in-class teacher support. Songs, both traditional and modern, are a great source of Irish language learning, and the site songsinirish.com is a great source, as is TG Lurgan. Cultural projects are often chosen as Irish modules, and again there is much to be learned from such sites as dúchas.ie or loganim.ie. Information on environmental projects or themes can be sourced in Irish on the EPA website, the European Parliament website, whateuropedoesforme.eu/GA provides great material in Irish for projects about Europe. When teaching a language, a modular approach is advisable, giving students an opportunity to practice and develop the 5 language skills, which are listening, reading, writing, interaction, and speaking. However, there is a great opportunity here for students to enhance their listening and oral Irish skills. Of course, teachers are encouraged to present the themes in creative and inspiring ways that create opportunities to enhance the students' problem-solving skills. Setting targets for students with a clear timeline and success criteria sets a good foundation for this. Students should also be afforded a range of ways in which they can demonstrate their learning. However, it must be pointed out that the focus is on process, what skills are being used and being developed, rather than on product, the content. Regarding Gael Scalani and Gael Closhti, where all the subjects are being taught through the medium of Irish, the document states that the Irish modules and plans should support students' access to the rest of the curriculum through Irish, and it should reflect on the students' role as active members of their school community. Students embarking on transition year this year have had various experiences since formal classes ended in March, and distance learning efforts and engagement with the junior certificate specifications varied. It is difficult to assess what the students have missed without listening to their views on where they are at this stage. Language departments must therefore assess what remedial action in terms of vocabulary and syntax is required to bridge that gap, what students have lost in terms of language, and include the necessary skills that students need in order to be able to engage to the best of their ability with any senior cycle language curriculum. Regarding modern foreign language courses in transition year, the principal aims are to increase students' ability to express themselves in the target language, to make students aware of the way of life in the country where the language is spoken, and to consolidate pupils' reading and writing skills. The student portfolio for their modern foreign language, which they are well accustomed to having used them in junior cycle, are of a great assistance here in TY to achieve the mentioned aims. Portfolio allows students to demonstrate their learning, promote student engagement, and assist with developing text through engagement with a wide variety of stimulus material. The portfolios give opportunities to collaborate, and it gives students an opportunity to reflect on their language learning. If you or your class are not accustomed to ePortfolio, then this is a great year to focus on such a project. Support for the teaching of modern foreign languages is available from ppli.ie, at pdst.ie, or on Skynet. As a result of the current pandemic, school trips are in jeopardy. In that respect, teachers and students would benefit from becoming involved with eTwinning to engage with pen pals or Zoom calls to maintain authentic language and cultural interactions. Assistance may be sought from laergus.ie in this regard, and this is free of charge. The PPLI, the Post-Primary Languages Ireland, is a dedicated unit providing expertise and support for foreign language education in Ireland, predominantly at post-primary level. One interesting possibility for modern foreign language teachers is to engage with local MFL communities of practice, organised through the Post-Primary Languages Ireland. This year, meetings will be held virtually and will be facilitated by the PPLI Associates. These meetings offer modern foreign language teachers opportunities to collaborate with other teachers and share ideas. Meetings last for about an hour with about 15 to 20 teachers in attendance. Additional information can be found on the ppli.ie website. This website also has an interesting section on digital technology in modern foreign languages. Erasmus Plus projects are very popular with modern foreign language teachers. Normally, this funding allows teachers to upskill and can be used to fund school trips abroad. However, this year, in response to the pandemic, Erasmus Plus have announced funding to support digital education and creative skills, and it's well worth having a look on their website at erasmuspluskosovo.org. Physical education is now delivered in two distinctive strands at junior cycle, one as a subject for assessment at Leaving Cert, and the other the senior cycle physical education framework, or the SCPE, which is available to all students and has a different purpose and focus to the former. It provides a flexible planning tool for physical education for all students in senior cycle. The SCPE framework assists with planning for a flexible, collaborative approach which takes into consideration the unique context of each school. It advises on appropriate learning outcomes and approaches to assessment which consider school setting, facilities, personnel, expertise, the characteristics of a particular class and students' interests. As TY is part of the senior cycle, planning for PE and TY is informed by the SCPE framework. In conjunction with this framework, transition units designed for PE can be used, as we will discuss in a moment. Teachers are encouraged to design or create their own units, and assistance on how to design those units is available from the website ncca.ie/senior cycle. A double period per week is required to support this learning. Physical activities, decided upon throughout the current COVID-19 pandemic, should be chosen on the basis of safety, and all practices must be in line with the current public health advice. Due to the transmissive nature of the virus, the use of physical equipment and resources must comply with the relevant health requirements. Regarding physical distancing, it is advisable to consider activities which involve less direct contact, such as divided court activities. The Physical Education Association of Ireland have produced an interesting traffic light system, which may be of benefit to clarify some of the issues PE teachers may be facing at present. All PE teachers should be aware of this useful tool when planning their programme for TY. Those activities that would present difficulties in the present COVID-19 climate are marked here in red. Those that require particular cleaning routines are marked in orange, while those with the minimum of contact and preparation of equipment are marked in green. This poster is available from the PEAI. The following transition units are worthy of consideration in scenarios where distance learning or blended learning may have to be practiced, or in the event of school sports hall not being available and inclement weather forcing PE lessons into classrooms, where a more theoretical approach would have to be taken. The GAA Future Leaders Programme, supported by the PDST, has been well received since its inception. Units from the Physical Education Leaving Cert curriculum for examination can also be used. There are 6 units in all, and the unit on health-related physical activities would best serve the transition year students when a more theoretical approach is taken in the PE lesson. There are many courses available, from concussion courses, first aid courses, personal fitness programs, coaching courses in a variety of sports, and it's advisable to contact any of the major organisations in your community to see what they can offer. Distance learning units that have proven successful has been the Open University Coaching and Psychology course, which is free of charge.
One of the core aims of TY is to promote the personal and social development of the students. Relationships and sexuality education plays a core role in this development. The Department of Education and Skills require the students to receive a minimum of 5 timetabled periods. Many schools find a cross-curricular approach to be effective in addition to virtual and in-person speakers, subject to public health guidelines. According to the Returning to Schools Transition Year Guidance document, additional time may be allocated to RSE this year, so that students may be fully supported. It is particularly important that teachers and invited speakers are familiar with Circular 23/2010. A variety of excellent resources using many methodologies such as video, walking debate, scenarios and discussion are available. It is important that teachers and guidance counsellors, where applicable, are trained to deliver RSE so that they may be fully comfortable in facilitating these classes. So that's the first part of the webinar done. We're now going to enter the second portion of the webinar, which will look at ways in which students can be facilitated to have a meaningful work experience this year. In the first term, TY students could complete the introductory units in preparation for entering the workplace. These units typically contain student reflection on their skills and qualities and activities. Topics such as a skills audit, goal setting, career investigation, job search, creating a CV and application, research into employer-employee rights, health and safety in the workplace, pay and conditions, and interview skills. Some of these research pieces may be completed with support on designated work experience days. Many such resources are available online at careersportal.ie or classroomguidance.ie. When planning work experience, 2 main approaches are block release and 1 day per week. Where students are pursuing block release and may safely complete work experience in accordance with public health advice and social distancing requirements, they should do so. Where it is not possible for some or all students to complete work experience, they should attend timetabled classes as normal during the designated weeks. While the 1 day a week approach is not encouraged, some schools have adopted it. It is highly unlikely that students will be able to complete work experience in the earlier part of this academic year at least. Students should be provided with teaching and learning opportunities on the scheduled work experience day. Attendance should be checked. Activities such as work preparation modules, careers investigations and journals planned, set and checked for the day. Schools may find an online class at the beginning of the day with a teacher or tutor to be useful, where the role may be called and work or tasks set with a clear deadline, using the platform favoured by the school, for example, Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams. The Working World by youthconnect.ie is a very useful resource when investigating the world of work, unions and knowing your rights. For those wishing to purchase a book focused on work experience, Jerry Jeffers has produced a very practical approach book known as Work Experience. There is also a work experience section in the senior SPHE book, It's Your Life by Chambers and Stackpool. A blended learning approach to engaging students in learning from home may be useful here and will be explored further in webinar 2. There are a variety of templates available. These are for both LCVP and LCA and may be easily adapted for use in TY. Schools may use a variety of materials to support learning around the world of work. Careersportal.ie is a particularly useful website as it provides a broad range of material a student may use to identify a career path they may be interested in using the Career Interest Profiler tool, investigate a career using the questionnaire, and information on the website, providing a holistic approach to career research. Virtual visits to workplaces, virtual or in-person visits subject to public health guidance, and regulations by persons from various professions may prove useful.
Choose Safety has a series of lesson plans and digital badges which encourage students to consider the importance of health and safety within the workplace. Upon completion of each module, students receive certification. A short video explaining the resource Choose Safety is on the TY web page, and more information can be sought from Kilkenny Education Centre. Those schools who are on a 1 day per week work experience may find this a useful resource for their students to proceed with during this time. In cases where it is possible for students to safely complete their work experience in accordance with public health advice and social distancing requirements, they should do so. Some students will encounter difficulties in sourcing work placements. Schools may have to plan for a continuum of support for those students in accessing such places. Where it is not possible for all or for some students to do so, they should attend timetable classes as normal during the designated weeks. Some alternative approaches to work experience placements may be considered. Education partnerships could be one step. Schools could link with local businesses, local enterprise offices, or further education facilities to explore options for remote learning for their students. Opportunities to promote remote tours of local industries, virtual job shadowing, and question and answer sessions with those in key roles may provide useful insights into the world of work. In addition to the local partnerships, mentoring could take place, where students could be able to access mentors in industries they are interested in. These mentor sessions could be accessed virtually, of course. Students may be able to access online training courses in areas they have identified as relevant to their area of interest. There are free online courses in areas relevant to the world of work that could provide additional training, assessment, and certification opportunities for students. The NCCA will provide assistance and guidance to the support services in the provision of further advice. The Open University offer a broad range of subjects, and all of these are free of charge. Another source that merges well with language classes and the world of work is Language Connect. It's available from www.ncge.ie/resource/work experience activity PAC Language Connect. Another useful site is iwish.ie, which promotes STEM careers among female students. The Student Enterprise Programme is an initiative which is run by the network of local enterprise offices of Ireland. It runs from September to May, and students get to do everything a real-life entrepreneur would do, from coming up with the business idea to marketing, sales, and preparing a business plan. Students are also encouraged to consider self-employment as a career choice, as it equips students with the skills to set up and run their own business. The combination of classroom learning with real-life experience, in addition to meeting and learning from entrepreneurs in the local community, subject to public health guidelines, of course, are valuable lifelong skills. There is plenty of support, both from the local enterprise office and online through the Student Enterprise website. This year, students must create a business that may trade online and can be worked on at home in the event of school closures. And now Stephen will bring you through the remainder of the presentation.
Thank you, Marcus, and thank you, Glenda, for all that valuable input. We're conscious that we fired a huge amount of information at you, but the intention is that you'll be able to access these slides on pdst.ie/ty, and you'll be able to share the information with colleagues who teach the various subjects in transition year. At this stage of the live event, participants broke off into their smaller groups to have a discussion, and then we took some feedback. We're not going to replicate this in the recorded event. In terms of this TY Picnic webinar series, there's a fourth webinar to come in November 2020 where we look at materials which arise based on your feedback from the first 3 webinars and any challenges which emerge in the meantime. You can suggest content for this webinar by emailing us at ty@pdst.ie. Remember too that you can also avail of school support via pdst.ie/school support, and you'll need your school's roll number and the password that I provided to you earlier in tonight's event. You can also email us with any questions at ty@pdst.ie, follow us on Twitter at pdstty, and also check in on the webpage on pdst.ie. GASHCA are holding a webinar for TY coordinators on the 30th of September for an hour. And again, this is likely to be available after the event, so you might check in on the GASHCA website and see if there is information which would be of interest to you. There is also a webinar for teachers of Irish in TY. So again, you should be able to access that after the event at a time which is suitable to you. The National Adult Literacy Agency are hosting a number of webinars on the teaching of maths over the course of Maths Week. And again, you might find some of the ideas in there interesting for use within transition year. The Politics and Society team from PDST are planning to run a workshop program in spring 2021 where they look at introducing politics and society to a school via a TY module. So that might be something which is of interest to a number of teachers or coordinators out there, and some information will be sent out to all schools closer to the time, and you'll be able to book a place in the event if you so wish. Thank you for attending this webinar and for attending the previous webinars too, and we look forward to speaking with you in the not too distant future.